Cord, I'm pretty sure I could actually play Spotify while we do this show. And so when I get bored of listening to you, I could just sit here and nod to a good tune.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, he looks absolutely impressed with that comment. Oh, that was weird. You froze and then we're drinking water. We should start a GoFundMe to get you decent internet.
I have the best internet I can get in my area.
Let's get hashtag Elon Musk going, and maybe he can send you some Starlink.
He's busy getting Starlink over the Ukraine right now.
I mean, where you live is pretty well a third world country. It's only reasonable.
No.
Yes.
I do not live in a third world country. We run a restaurant in our town, and we have peacocks, and we live in the middle of nowhere.
I'm pretty sure you sound like every third world country. Ironically, the restaurant sells peacock burgers.
No.
You make your own decision.
No, but we do sell dream catchers with peacock feathers.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life Podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I'm your host, TowManG, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the one chain wonder himself, Mr. PlainGuy.
Ooh, he changes it up. He's back to the one chain wonder. I am so against the one chain wonder that I actually take offense to that. But that
Good.
being said, G, how you doing, man? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm not doing bad. I'm not doing bad. It's been a little busy. Spring is also here, so we've it's slowed down, but it's all longer, stretched out through the day. So you're still just as busy, but it doesn't feel like you are, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I feel you there.
Fun story before I get into all the mentions and all the boring part that everyone tunes out for. I was telling you before the show, I've got a great story. Nothing towing related on the story, but by all means, have you ever left your car somewhere, whether it be in your driveway, out somewhere, unlocked, you forgot to lock it, and people rummage through your vehicle? Has that ever actually happened to you?
No, I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I could leave things unlocked, and the only thing that's going to rummage through is maybe a raccoon.
Yeah, fair enough. So the dumpsters only, not the vehicles.
Yeah.
So Saturday I was out and about. I think we recorded on Saturday. I can't remember what day it was. I was out and about doing some running around Saturday. Parked in the afternoon. I never went out on Sunday. So the next time I went out was on Monday morning to go to work. And I get out to my vehicle and I look. It's actually my wife. I had her SUV. And I see the door partially ajar. I had already remote started it. And which is weird that it started. But anyways, so I get out there and the door is just not fully latched. So I'm like, oh, that's weird. I had stuff in my hands. It was raining. Maybe I didn't latch it right. As soon as I open the door, I see stuff scattered all over the seats. And I went, God damn. The one time, I always lock it. The one time actually, that's a lie. My wife would definitely say that's a lie. But one of the few times that I leave it unlocked and somebody went through it. So I did a quick check. I put my stuff back in. I go, there's nothing of value. We don't keep any, we don't leave any wallets. There might have been, $1 worth of change.
No.
For our American listening, that's $1.
Actually, it's only like 65 cents if you turn it into American dollars.
That is true. That is true. So, anyways, wasn't too worried to go to work. That night I get back and I'm telling my wife the story, how I went out and somebody went through the car and I'd forgotten to lock it. So she wants to go out and check, make sure they didn't steal her fancy little Bones air fresheners that she has on the vents. And we're looking around. I'm like, it's weird. It doesn't even look like they went through the back seat. They didn't there's your shoes that are sitting here, a nice new pair of shoes. She looks at me and she goes, those aren't my shoes. So, what do you mean those aren't your shoes? So I open the back door up and it looks like they're massive. They're size 13s, which is about my size of shoe. Brand new, sitting side by side on the back seat. Neither of us have purchased these shoes. Nobody was in the vehicle that these shoes would have belonged to that had left them behind. The only thing I can see is while these people were going through the back seat, which had some blanket washer jug on the floor, maybe they thought we were hiding something, is they placed the shoes down that they probably took out of another car somewhere. and placed them down and either got spooked or forgot them.
You got reversed robbed.
I got robbed and got something out of it. In my defense, I think there was about 35 cents of change missing, so I got a great deal on a brand new pair of shoes. I haven't tried them on. I mean, they're brand new. They're, they're still wrapped. You know how the laces are tied when you get them from the store?
Yeah.
They're still tied like that. So this is, I'm guessing, they stole it out of somebody else's car. I don't know my neighbors all that well to find out who they are, but I ended up with a size 13 shoe.
Well, I am a size 13, and if you want to sauce me over a brand new pair of shoes, I ain't gonna complain.
Yeah, here is my address. Come on by. So, I mean, what are the chances?
I'll make sure I leave my old plow truck unlocked for you to come rummage through.
Well, what are the chances of that, right? The one time I've never had my car gone through like that, and the one time that I do, we actually ended up gaining something from it and something we can use. So, I mean, it wasn't a terrible weekend after all. I was due for a new pair of running shoes.
Yeah, I bet. It's that time. It's right after the winter and everything, so.
Absolutely. So, before we get too far into it, guys, it is a good time to mention, first of all, this episode is coming out less than a week from today. If you are listening on Tuesday when the new episodes come out, on April 3rd at 7 p.m. on East Coast time. So 4 p.m. on the West, and figure it out somewhere in the middle on the Central. We will be doing our first ever live episode of the Towing Life podcast. You will find us on Facebook and on YouTube. We have updated the website that you can also find us at www.towinglife.ca. You will find the links there to our YouTube, to our Facebook, where you will be able to watch live, where you will be able to comment, where we'll be able to read the comments out on the screen, show them up on the screen. We are excited for it. We're going to do a little bit of Q&A. You guys got any questions, whether it be specific towing questions that you want to ask, or little get to know us, things we're going to kind of go off what you guys want to hear, what you want to do. We'll have some funny stories. We'll have some funny videos to play. There's a lot of work that we'll be putting into it. So again, that is Sunday, April 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern. Head over to the Facebook page at the Towing Life podcast on Facebook. You will find the event created there. I believe, I don't know if it goes live to the event. I know it will go live 100% to the page. So make sure, if you haven't already, to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. If you are watching over on the YouTube side, welcome. You guys can watch the live episode as well from there. The comment section as well will be open. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe down. You can leave a comment, any questions, concerns, anything you have for the show. Don't hesitate. You can also email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com, or by searching at the Towing Life podcast on Facebook, which I already got to. The ticker isn't moving fast enough at the bottom of the screen. And as usual, you can call us at 249-666-2209. It's nice and easy to remember. It's a lot of twos, a lot of nines, and some sixes in between. Follow the prompts. You can leave a message for us. We'll do our best to play it on the air. So now that all the fun and advertisement and self-promotion is out of the way, that was a lot of it.
It's a long-winded rant. Also, in case you ever did want to, go off of what that ticker says, if you leave the episode banner thing up on the right-hand side, you could just read it off of there. But
wait, what? Oh yeah, it is there.
Yeah.
Oh man,
You're welcome.
I thank you very much. I am learning something new. I don't normally keep that screen open, but you do make some very valid points. Ladies and gentlemen, G is an absolute producer to the show. I'm just here for the ride.
Coming in clutch. That's the first time I actually opened up that banner, and I left it open. I was like, I could just read it off of there.
So that being said, guys, I want to get into, we weren't planning on starting with this, but I want to start with it because I can't wait. It has been too much fun. If you listened last week, you will see that G kind of went on a rant about not wanting to tow somebody because his license plate were a couple months expired. He was being a bit of a negative Nancy, we'll call him. So that being said, it has brought to life a whole new segment of the show that we will try and bring out at least once an episode. So without further ado, I give you, how much of it is TowManG? That is right. How much of a dick is TowManG? I think I know the answer, but it is your guys' opportunity to see it.
Oh God.
How this is going to work, it's fairly simple, G. Obviously, I'm gonna prepare a question every week, and it's going to be a scenario, and we're going to put your moral judgment to the test.
Oh God.
And it is going to give the listeners / viewers an idea of how much of a dick are you actually. Because I was personally offended by what you said that last show about not towing that guy. I took great offense to that. And so I think it's going to either give you a chance to clear the air or to show your true colors. Okay. So I'm going to lay out a scenario for you. These scenarios are hopefully going to be scenarios that towers we've kind of faced at one time or another. And you got to make a moral decision. Profit, money in your pocket, or customer well-being. Which one is going to come first? So here's the scenario.
Okay.
There is a widowed 90-some-year-old lady, right? 90-some-year-old lady, man, doesn't matter. Widowed. Yep. They're by themselves. They live out on a farm like you do, way out in the middle of nowhere. She has 3 flat tires on her car, right? In her garage, she's got her summer tires, her winter tires, whatever they are, mounted on rims, right? Ready to go. Now, first thing would be, I don't want to change the tires. I'm going to tow her. Here's the problem, right? The closest place when you live out in these areas is 30, 40, 50 kilometers away that she could get towed to get these tires fixed. And unfortunately, she only got the bare minimum, so her roadside doesn't cover it. She's got no money. She's got no kids around to help her out. You are there on a roadside call, which we both know you are doing for peanuts.
Yeah.
Are you changing the 3 tires over for your basic roadside call for peanuts? Or are you telling her you need to get a tow and taking the bill? Come on. How much of a dick is TowManG?
So I really think it's going to depend. If I show up in a flatbed, I will load the tires into the car and tow her to the closest tire shop. I'll just eat that tow.
You'll eat that tow. We're talking like 40 kilometers of mileage you're eating.
So the way I look at it in this scenario, if she lives out in the boonies and the tire shop's located in the closest town, your tow yard's probably also located in the closest town, right? So you're probably going to be backtracking your dead miles anyways.
Nah, your garage, there's no dead mile. Your garage is right there. You were paid no mileage. You were on a roadside flat bare minimum call.
Okay. So I guess I'm just going to change all 3 tires at that point.
Will change all 3 tires and help this 90-some-year-old widow out.
I am a firm believer in helping the elderly. Firm believer. You want to know why? Because if my grandmother ever breaks down on the side of the road, I would hope someone would do that for her. I'll give you a quick story. I showed up. I got this call for a roadside. They were having a horrible time pinpointing her location. This is during COVID. We couldn't take passengers. So I called the roadside. I was like, hey, I think I know where she is. Once you get an ETA for the taxi, I'll roll. Because there's no sense of me sitting on the side of, it was a country lane, waiting for a cab. So I get there before the cab and I speak to the lady. She's got a bunch of groceries in the car, everything. And the tow destination was originally for a house, but she wanted it towed to a shop. And I was like, I'll tell you what, I can pick this up. I'll take it to your shop, whatever the case may be. I'll help you get your stuff out of the car and put it in the cab when it gets here. Cab shows up. She gets out. I take a couple of things, take it to the cab. And she was like, oh, my daughter's coming down from an hour away and we'll just go over to the shop and get the rest of the stuff out of the car. It's like, okay. And I think she handed me a $20 tip. And I was like, there's no need for it. Like, it's appreciated. I don't need it though. So I load up her car. She gets in the cab. She heads her home. And I decide her home's on the way. So I just go and I back right into her driveway and I unload everything out of her van. And I carry it right up to her steps. We sit there, have a conversation. Her daughter comes up, thanks me, everything like that. And then I carry on. Right? It was a little bit of time out of my day.
So let me ask you then, does this change if it's a 25-year-old kid who should be able to change his own tires?
Yes.
Right now you're sitting about a 3 on the dickhead scale out of 10, which I think is pretty reasonable. Okay. Let's see if we can get that up a little bit higher.
Okay. So you're telling me a 25-year-old kid,
let's say 20-year-old kid, because the next generation can't do much when it comes to
20-year-old kid, middle of nowhere, at his house?
Side of the road. Side of the road, 3 flats, but he's got the tires in the back of the car.
I will say I'm towing this, and you're paying for the tow.
Ooh. So, all right.
Or I'll say I'll help you change the tires, but you're learning. This is going to be a learning experience for you.
Oh, that's a very fatherly moment of you.
I've done that before. If you are willing to learn, why not? Right? Because it's a basic life skill of how to change a tire. I'm hoping if there's anyone out there that's ever been in that situation where you're changing a tire for a young kid and you can see that curiosity or that ambition to learn, I hope you take the extra couple of minutes and just explain the steps and say, here, this is how you do it.
That is fair. You've probably moved up to like a 4 or 5, maybe a 6, just because your initial answer. If it's a kid, I'm towing it and he can pay for it.
Yeah.
But I do respect that decision. So, guys, if you are listening and you have a question or a scenario, G doesn't have access to this email. So you can send it to the towing life at gmail.com. You can send in your questions for our wonderful episode that we will do every week of How Much of It is TowManG? This is my new favorite thing. I am so happy that I came up with that.
And if you disagree with PlainGuy's rating of my dickheadedness, leave it in a comment down below in the YouTube side of things.
Absolutely. Or visit us on the Facebook page. Like I said, that is going to be my new favorite skit to the show. We will do it. We'll see how it goes. I want to get the questions in from you guys. Test his morality. That is the whole point of this game. We are going to see how moral of an individual you actually are. Because I normally come off as the arrogant one. You come off as the nice, sweet country boy. So I am really trying to take you down a peg or two.
See, if anything is from my comment from last episode, the pay per call isn't my driving factor.
Yes,
right?
It is.
No, it's not.
It's a factor. It's not the only factor. Let's put it that way.
It is a factor. It's not the driving factor. Right?
It brings us whole back to the hourly versus commission debate that I really don't want to get into with you. We work on different sides of it. I'm not saying we share a different opinion, but we work on different sides of it. And I've spent much time doing commission calls. And honestly, there's still, even as an hourly employee, I still preferred commission for the most part. So,
and in my instance where I am, I'd prefer hourly right now.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works. So we can roll right into this. Then you're talking about scenarios that you had with that wonderful lady that you were able to help out.
Yeah.
Let's hear, when we started this show, G, the one thing we talked about was the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep.
So that being said, we've heard the good. What is the bad? What is your absolute worst customer experience?
My worst customer experience, I don't want to say worst because it's hard to really pinpoint the worst. I've got a couple bad ones. I actually had one the other day. I think it was the day after we actually recorded that episode about taking significant others with you.
And you're a hypocrite and you took a significant
I never
one with
said
you.
I didn't all the time. Anyway, so she's on holidays. She drives down to my yard, so at least her car's at the yard in case I do need to take passengers, whatever the case may be.
Fair enough.
We got a call. It's the town over going to the bigger town in my area.
The town over going to the bigger town.
Yeah.
Yay, wander.
Yeah. Just across the pond is where we got to pick it up, and then you take her down to the big city to get her fixed. You know,
the big city of 15,000 people.
Actually, there's 30,000 people. No, 80,000 people in that town now. I think.
Jesus, that's a metropolitan.
Yeah, might actually be 100. I haven't looked at one of the population signs. Anywho, so I get there, and it's at the LCBO. It's Dodge Caravan, boost possible tow.
Wow.
And I get there. I started talking to the guy, and he was like, you helped me out a couple months back, and I couldn't remember. And I put my pack on it. It's reading 12.5 volts. I was like, yeah, this isn't a boost.
Mm-hmm.
So he's acting real weird, like not standing 5 feet away or right over your shoulder like most people. No, he buggers off like 30 meters away.
He's just out for a walk.
Yeah, and then he comes back. And then he buggers back off again. And then he comes back and asks for the keys, and then he buggers back off again. It's just weird. So anyways, I get the van hooked up and he was like, "Can you drive me home?" I was like, well, this is also how much of a dickhead is TowManG. At that point, I say, not really, but once we get into the truck, I can see how far away your house is from the tow destination to
Right.
see whether, I've just gone out of my way and say, yeah, sure, I can drive you home before I've gotten any additional information. So then once I drop the vehicle off, I'm driving 15 kilometers out of my way to drive this guy home.
Right.
I don't like doing that as much.
Fuel's expensive right now.
Fuel's expensive unless I can get it deemed okayed underneath the roadside, whatever the case may be. But at that time, while I'm out of the truck hooking up this van, I can't do that. So then he tells me I stopped at the LCBO instead of stopping at the lumberyard to get a jug of rum. A jug of rum.
A jug, no less. A plastic jug.
A jug of rum. Instead of going and buying wood at the lumber store, he stopped and got a jug of rum. This jug of rum is near and dear to his heart because he would not, and I mean would not, let that jug of rum sit in the driver's seat of that van while I was towing it. He wanted that in the cab of the truck. I said, no, I'm sorry. I don't want alcohol in my commercial truck. He was like, well,
There's kind of laws against that, sir.
He was like, I don't want it in the van. I was like, it's fine. He was like, no, like it's got to come with me. I was like, that's fine. If I drop you off at your house, you can take it with you. Well, I can get back in my van. It's like, yes, it's a wheel lift. The door's open. Have at her. So then he gets into the truck. Girlfriend sitting in the passenger seat. He's in the back because I drive a 4-door truck. Tons of room. And this guy stinks. Like, reeks. And when I got into the van, I didn't see that ashtray piled high with cigarette butts or anything like that. Nothing. I was like, okay, not so bad.
You couldn't smell it?
No, there was nothing. There was no cigarette butts or anything.
Okay, gotcha.
Because that's normally a telltale sign.
Yeah.
And
how somebody keeps their vehicle is always a good sign of their actual overall hygiene.
Yeah. And he smells like bad. And he's a very soft-spoken speaker. So I'm driving with the window down. The girlfriend's trying to play Uno on her phone, and she's hunched straight forward because she thinks he's going to stab a needle in her neck. Her words, not mine. And she also thinks that he's drinking out of his coffee mug rum because apparently she could smell it sitting on that side of the truck. I couldn't. I don't know. Anyways, so I'm trying to drive with the window down to kind of blow some of the smell out, and he's trying to talk to me, but I can't hear him with the window down, so I got to keep putting the window up. But every time I put the window up, I start to gag a little bit, which means I can't talk to this fucking guy anyways. So it's a back and forth. I ended up dropping him off. Thankfully, he lived in the town I originated from, so I only had to take him like a third of the way.
He wasn't yay wander?
Yeah, he didn't want to go way out of the way. He just wanted to go like 3 kilometers out of the way. And when I told him, I brought it up on the GPS. He's like, it's only a kilometer. It's only a kilometer out of the way. I was like, well, actually, it adds 5 kilometers to the trip. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I got to drive 2 kilometers out of my way, another kilometer turn around, and then 2 kilometers back. Oh, I was like, don't worry, man. I just don't want you in my tow truck anymore.
I just want to get you out of here and get you gone.
Yeah. So this is also the point that he tells me that the van just locks by itself.
Every customer says that. Don't leave the keys in it. It locks. I got tools for that too.
You press the unlock button on the key fob, give it 30 seconds, it locks again, regardless if the key's in it or not.
Yeah. Even if you've opened the door. I don't know if you knew about that. Okay. Because a lot of the new vehicles come with that feature, right?
The funny thing in the drivers, it was a Dodge Caravan, so it still had the pop locks. The driver's door never popped. When you hit the unlock button, the door will unlock, but that thing won't actually pop up. So I think
something's disconnected somewhere.
Yeah.
Something's broken to that rod. And
yeah.
What year Caravan was this thing?
Like a 2009. Just like the first year of the newer body style.
The square and more of those round band. Remember those 06 and 03 Caravans, those big bubbly things? Yeah. I got a flat tire. I'd like you to change it. It was like the first style of underneath, if I'm not mistaken, and they've never taken it down in the 20-some years they've owned it. And it's like, so you're getting towed. Where would you like to go?
Or it's even the newer ones where if they have a spare, it's on the passenger side, right up underneath the passenger side seat, And if it's got a driver's side flat, you have to jack up the passenger side of the van to be able to get the spare
out.
tire out. Yeah.
Don't tell me about spare tires. Have you ran into the Toyota Siennas?
They're underneath the sliding door.
No, not the sliding door. They're underneath the passenger side behind the driver's seat.
Yeah.
There is a piece of carpet that rips up. Stupidest thing about these. It's a lug, like a nut, like a, you know, it is not the same size as the tire lug nuts.
What?
They come with, if they have not lost it yet, a little socket that has a hoop on it.
Huh.
And you put that on it, and then you put the little handbars in, and you can spin the bars, which is a lot better than the stupid caravan ones that would hit the radio every time you try and turn it. But it's not actually the same size. And I ran into this. It was funny. A couple of weeks ago, I did a tire change down at a service center, and they, you know, I didn't have the right size socket. I took out their tire iron because my 3-way wouldn't fit on this nut. So I took out their tire iron, and I said, okay, cool. I'll use their tire iron to lower the spare tire. Yeah. It wouldn't fit. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And the guy and I had this conversation. Why would they not put the lowering nut the same size as the lug nuts so that you had the tire wrench with you? No, instead you have this thing that is the size of the key for the locking wheel nuts that somebody is going to lose, because God knows they lose the keys enough.
Yeah.
And they make it a different size that if you lose that, you can't lower your spare tire unless you have the socket on hand with you. And it is a weird size. I can't remember what it is. I should have had it in the truck. It leads into another point that we're going to have later about unprepared or unstocked trucks. But it's like, why? What engineer? First of all, you wanted to screw me by putting it under the passenger seat, you said, like you said. And if you get it on the left side, you need to jack up the right side to get the tire out sometimes.
Yeah.
Then you're going to put a different size socket on it than what the lug wrench takes, and hope to God that the customer has the tools. I swear, we've said it before. There was a tow operator at one point that pissed off an engineer. I don't know what he did to him, bullied him in school, and they are getting revenge on us day in, day out.
Not even so much that. I get that. It's pickup trucks that switch it up. I've got it where you try to lower down the tire in the pickup truck, and it's the fat square that clicks in.
Yeah.
Then,
the other one's the flat bar.
Yeah, it's the flat bar. The other ones, it's the hook. Other ones, it's the actual skinny part.
End.
It's like, why don't you just all use the same end?
It's true. It's true. It's like
jamming that thing in there, trying to get it to fit. You're playing around with it. You can't see.
You're laying underneath, lining up one arm and sliding the bar in with the other to see if you're missing the spot. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm laying underneath this pickup truck, reaching up, trying not to get rust in my eyes. And where do you want to get towed to, sir?
Oh, man. So worst passenger experiences. Let's get back to that. Because you shared a very long-winded story. Mine is much quicker, but nonetheless, just as interesting. This was years ago, years and years and years and years ago. I got a call. It was I want to say it was a COD call. I don't really remember. I don't think it was roadside. If it was one of those ones where they were paying the overages. And this gentleman had blown the engine in his Ford Escape, Mazda Tribute, whatever it was. And he would like to get towed to Montreal, which is, I think, where he was going, about an hour and a half. Into Quebec was where he wanted to get towed. So I pull up the GPS, I pull up the mileage, no problem. Here's the price. Cool. So he's got his wife with him in the vehicle, and he's also got, there's another lady in the vehicle. And so we agree with the price. Everything is good. Everything is ready to go. And he asked me, he says, can you do better on the price if I introduce you to my wife's friend? Now, I am pretty sure I have no objections to any of this, and I'll get canceled for it one way or another. But it had a mail order bride vibe situation going on. And this gentleman was legitimately offering his wife's friend's services for a cheaper tow bill. And let me tell you, I was not in the slightest of ways interested. I know this sounds like a dream that everyone wishes for. But I've seen enough dreams. This wasn't my type of mail order bride. Let's put it that way. And so I actually did tell the gentleman that I'll make you a deal. I will knock $20 off the bill if she doesn't talk to me. Because I really don't want this to get awkward. So this was the most, and same thing, the smell. I don't mind people. Like, you know, I like some passengers. You have some, some fun chat, some everything. It's the smell. And then I believe this one might have been closer to wintertime. So it was cold. So
Yeah.
I kept trying to put the windows down
Mm.
so I could get some fresh air. And he kept complaining that it was cold and I'd have to turn the heat up and then it's still cold and I have to put the window up. It was the longest, most awkward drive to Montreal that I've ever had in my life. And we finally get to the tow destination and I drop the SUV off and he says, "Can you give me a ride home?" And I said, "Where is it? It's on the way back. We passed it on the way in." And thankfully he came to his garage. I didn't drop him off on the way because what a spot to get into. But anyways, I go to the guy and I said, "All right, cool, but you got to pay me now before I unload the vehicle and then I'll bring you home." Well, he starts arguing with me. Well, how do I know you're going to bring me home? What reason do I have to lie to you?
Yeah.
We sat there arguing for about 15 minutes. And this, how much of a dick is PlainGuy? It finally led to, no, pay the bill. Are you going to give me a ride? Fine, I'll give you a ride, but you need to pay the bill now. You promise you're going to give me a ride? This is 15 minutes of arguing. He paid me and I left him there. I said, call a cab. He had gotten his wife out. They had to get stuff out of the vehicle. I left him there because it's just like, I don't mind helping you out.
Yeah.
And I will. I'll drive you home. This was back before fuel was almost $2 a liter.
Yeah.
But I'll help you out. I don't mind doing something like that for you. Like I said, I don't mind going that extra little bit for people, even though I wasn't a fan of this guy from the beginning.
Yeah.
Then you argue with me for 15 minutes. And then you're trying to short me on the bill. And then you're trying to negotiate. Listen, the tow bill gets negotiated when I show up.
Yeah.
We agree to a price with new laws. That's the way you have to do it. And you have to get the prices signed off on.
Yeah.
And you're lucky to make you pay me before I got there. Like before we go under tow. But yeah, this guy argued and I left him there. And I would never do that to someone for the most part. But I was also younger and a lot more hot-headed back then. So, I mean, anything was possible.
You can only get pushed so far, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and you do that after I've been on a 14-hour day already. Sorry, I'm trying to be as nice as I can. I'm trying to be respectful. I will always be professional. But at the same time, I dropped you off. The service was complete. For the rate that we agreed on, you gave me a hard time. Go to hell.
Yeah. And I don't know. I find I'm here to help you. Why are you going to question my intentions on trying to help you? Right?
100%.
If I've already told you that, yes, I will do that for you, take my word as my word. Right? I have.
What reason would I have?
Yeah. What do I have to gain?
Yeah.
You're paying the bill and I got to go back that way anyways.
Yeah.
Like,
now you're paying the bill and I mean, he made me.
You wasted the 15 minutes of what it take me to drive you home, sitting here arguing.
Yeah.
That boat sailed. I'm sorry.
Yeah. See ya. Have a good day. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Here's my card if you need me again. But yeah, no. So talking about the lug nuts on these vans that we'll go back to, not having the right size. Spring cleaning on trucks. Winter is gone.
Yeah. We
had a chat. Actually, this is a good time to bring up spring cleaning on trucks. We had a chat, if you remember, G, with some good friends at the show. Over at, I got no problem shouting them out. Why not? Over at BA Products.
Yeah.
Right. BA Products has some amazing quality when it comes to materials and products that are out there, and testing. The testing these guys do on their products is unreal.
Yeah.
So we got talking to them, and I don't know if you remember, we talked about foreign materials on straps.
Yep.
Whether it be oil, transmission fluid, we all know it, guys. We've all towed stuff. We get fluids on our beds. It soaks up into the wheel straps if you're using the 8-point tie-down system.
Mm-hmm.
And first instinct you have when you're cleaning your truck, you're rinsing off the bed, is I'm going to wash the straps.
Yeah.
And that was the amazing thing we learned from that conversation. And we hope we can have the fine folks over at BA on the show to actually give you guys direct from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing they warned about, they would soak straps in transmission fluid, oil for different periods, 24 hours, 48 hours, 7 days, and then take them out and then test them, let them dry out and test them. And they said one of the hardest things that they ever found on the products was not engine oil, was not hydraulic fluid. It was detergent. Yeah. It was soap detergents from washing the straps and guys getting too close with the pressure washers, trying to get, them back to yellow. Mm-hmm. And literally cutting a bunch of the threads in them, and they would deteriorate so much faster. So when it comes to the spring cleaning on your trucks, be careful on what you're using. When it comes to straps and all that, it's actually better to just leave them dirty or replace them than to put it at risk of snapping one because you've taken the pressure washer an inch away trying to get it back to yellow because it's gotten a little bit dirty.
I'm pretty sure, I can't remember, like you were saying, I really hope we can get those guys on the show to really just drive home all this information. But soaking them in a bucket of water overnight, bringing them out to dry for another day, I don't think that actually did anything to the straps in their tests that they did. And that's probably the best way to do it.
I don't know if they actually did that test. If you guys are listening, there's a test to do. What happens if we soak them in water for 24 hours or 8 hours overnight?
I'm hoping that they did.
Give them a little shake out.
You pull your ratchet off. You soak the actual strap, right?
Don't leave the ratchet in the bucket of water.
I hope not.
Oh, man, right now is the worst time for ratchets.
Yeah.
Right after the winter when everything went from wet to dry and warm.
Yeah.
And I hopped in a truck that an operator hadn't greased them, once a week you should be there, if not more. A little bit of penetrating fluid or a little bit of white lithium grease goes a long way. You just spray them in. And I went to use them and it was like that click, 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 click. Like they weren't seized by any means. They're still fairly new ratchets, but they're just
hard.
Tight. Yes.
Yeah.
For the love of God, spray those things once
and
a
the
week.
dolly straps are the worst because they get all the spray up from those dolly tires. And it's just,
those would be the ones you'd want to soak in the water like that. Just soak them down and either that or use fresh dollies every toe. But
and especially in the winter now, like I normally have at least 2 different sets of dolly straps on my truck at any time. Like I've got my own that I bought from a company where I had to provide all my own equipment. And then the company's got a set of dolly straps in the truck too. So I normally reverse them. I'd have some sitting in my tunnel box that I'm using. Then I'd have some on the passenger floor drying out.
Right.
And once they dried out, they're hard and brittle and they're always a pain to get around the tire. But we're coming back into the summertime where your nice clean straps will hopefully stay nice and clean for longer.
We throw too much stuff out of the mud. But yeah, how often are you guys going through the trucks, right? And now is the time. All right, we've got, not to mention the box themselves. It's amazing how much just dirt and grime and you know what I mean? We're talking flatbeds, we're talking wreckers. Flatbeds, I find more, especially when you get those boxes. There's 2 main styles of wrecker. Everyone knows I'm a wrecker fan over a flatbed. I hate flatbeds. They're for rookies. Wreckers are real tow operator trucks. I will take flag for that. I don't care. But there's 2 styles of wrecker bodies. Right, for the most part, there's the composite and the aluminum, and we're talking the Miller products, right? We're talking those, your 801s, 802s, 804s, 806s. I hate the composite. The body as a whole, I do hate the composite. It chips, it cracks, whatever. I'm not a fan of it. It's bubbly. Yeah, the one is that aluminum behind you, or is that composite?
Composite.
Okay. The one thing the composite did right, and I'll talk about that when it talks to cleaning your toolboxes, is the side doors.
See, I don't like the side doors.
They never latch right. The rubber falls off. They're a pain in the nuts. But they don't have that raised lip that all the shit sits in. I find with those aluminum bodies with the door that you swing open on the side, there's that drop down in. A lot of the dirt will fall off your jack.
Yeah, they got smaller doors.
They do have smaller doors, but the dirt and the everything else will collect and sit down there.
Mm-hmm.
Where it doesn't, because every time you know what I mean, with the flat level door. Yeah. Every time you open, the mud will fall out. It's easy to clean it out. When it comes to cleaning, those composite bodies rock. When it comes to practicality, the aluminum is definitely.
Those ones are also real easy at cleaning. When that latch lets go and you're turning a corner at 30 kilometers an hour and everything just goes bye-bye.
Yeah, they really seem to, because of that flat edge too, and it's probably where guys are putting jacks and everything else. You take a corner and it seems to pound away at that door. I've seen trucks, and I've seen trucks that are not taken care of. I've seen trucks that are well taken care of, and that door on those composite ones seems to, and I think it's because stuff is bumping up against it inside the box, where it won't do that in the aluminum. They always seem to be slightly out of whack.
Even in the 2 wreckers that we had at the company I work for now, they both had composite boxes, and I've always been a aluminum box myself. Like that's when I was working with you, that's all we had. We didn't have any composite at the time, and I liked them. I found that they were more sturdy, everything like that. And the best thing is too, especially if you're training someone, if you jackknife a little bit and you bump into the aluminum, you get underneath, you pound it back out with a hammer, you hit it with a can of spray paint, whatever the case may be, you can repair it better. Wow. If you do that into the fiberglass, though, Now, unless you know how to repair fiberglass yourself, it's costly.
Well, the aluminum's a little special too, in the sense that aluminum will crack, and you can't just weld aluminum with your shop welder and stuff like that. But yeah, no, yeah, the composite cracks, and then you're doing the old Frankenstein with zip tie drill holes repair with, you know what I mean?
And I find even if you poke a hole in the fiberglass, you can't make it look any better. If you dent,
you can with aluminum?
No, but I find the aluminum hides it better.
Yeah, maybe the straight edges and all that I think help. But I mean, how many holes are you punching in the back of your wreckers? If your major concern on the two is how many holes I can put in the back, sir, you belong back into a flatbed.
There is a crack on the back of my wrecker that I'm running now. I wasn't the one that put it there.
And we know what it's from. It's from the spoon and sucking it in too far, and somebody took a corner and punched a dented a side on it.
No.
Oh,
no,
wow.
Completely not. It's not my story to tell because it wasn't my truck at the time when that happened, but it was there and it got done. Anyways, even I was talking about the doors and them latching.
I love getting you flustered and
yeah, you're getting me flustered. You're getting me all turned around here, man. On the doors on this truck that I've got, the truck's been well taken care of. It was a single operator's truck. It was the manager's truck before it got handed down to me, and now it's kind of a general purpose. Anyone can hop in it. So I'm trying to do my best to take care of it the best I can. And in all the boxes that I've got set up, nothing falls against the boxes. Like nothing falls against the door.
Okay.
And occasionally you'll get some of that rubber trim that pops out, and then you got to take a couple of minutes and stick it back on. Yeah. But when I close these doors, they don't close flush. Like you close them, and then you always got to like double check it because you're like, is that closed?
Yep.
And with the actual wrecker body doors, not the tunnel box, if that opens, there is nothing, absolutely nothing to hold anything back. And the one is all my frame forks. My frame forks.
They're in holders though. They should
no.
be no,
we don't.
You didn't spend the extra $100 or $200 to get the frame fork holder in the box.
Wasn't me.
I'd like to have a conversation with your boss.
Well, you know who the guy who spec'd out that truck.
I'm gonna call him when we're done here.
Yeah, you call him. You give him a piece of your mind.
I'll tell him exactly what I think. I'm pretty sure it's standard.
Yeah. But whatever the case may be, they just don't seem to close quite right.
Yeah.
And I don't like them. That's why I prefer the aluminum over the fiberglass.
Yep.
But I don't know. So I was actually cleaning out the truck. I greased everything, greased the knuckle, the up and down, the in and out, all the sliders, the boom, dollies, ratchets, snatch blocks, even did the actual pivot points on the J-hooks, everything. Like I went through head to toe, door jams, everything. And I have my rookie
points on the J-hooks. What the heck are you talking about?
Like the actual, on my, I've got a clasp on the one J-hook. So I was greasing the little spring clasp.
On a J-hook or your safety chain hooks?
No, the J-hook. It's got one of those on the actual.
Like we're talking a full-size J-hook.
Yeah.
It has a clasp?
No, like on the other end of the chain, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways. Okay. And he's looking at me, just the sheer amount of work that it is. And he was like, how often do you got to do this? I was like, well, you're supposed to do it like once a week to touch it up. And he was like, what? It's like, yeah. He's like, maybe I should bring the bed back here and do that. I was like, have you not greased it yet? He's like, no. I was like, you've been here for 2 months. Yeah. Yes.
That's amazing.
I'll put an extra tube in your grease gun for you. We've got electric grease guns to make it easy.
At the old place I worked at, I got into a truck that was a 2021 and it had 60,000 maybe on it. It wasn't much. No. And we ran the Vulcan strapless system with the swivels on the wheel lift on their sliders.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one, I shit you not, was so seized. I had to put the spoon in to move it. This is a brand new truck. I don't think this thing ever seen grease. Either that or he bent that pin. And I don't know how you bend the swivel pin. I know how you bend the stopper pins that you slide in front of the wheel. Yeah. I've seen that happen 100 times.
Yeah.
But to actually, so like it was like I had to unbolt it, take it apart. It was full of rust inside. This thing had never seen grease. It was a brand new truck, like less than a year old.
Wow.
And it's like, it amazes what people will beat the shit out of equipment when they don't take pride in it.
Yeah.
And I think this is an equal responsibility. This is nowhere I thought I was going with this. But this is where it is equal responsibility on the company and the employees.
Yeah.
Meaning, if the company doesn't take pride in the equipment, you can throw a brand new truck out. It's fine. But if the company isn't taking pride in it, the drivers aren't going to either.
Yeah.
So as much as I'd like to, as a driver, I want you to take pride in your equipment. And, you don't have to have the fanciest of everything. Make what you have work. But when you throw a company that feels, the employees feel that the company doesn't take pride, guess what? 9 times out of 10, that employee is not going to either. Those trucks are going to go downhill fast.
I heard a story from someone. I'm going to leave him anonymous. He was driving, I think it was like a 2019 wrecker. Anyways, it was the go-to wrecker for the company because it was the biggest truck that they had. And one of their fog lights apparently burnt out. So they had a mechanic come in every week or whatever the case was. And they're like, no, it's not the fog light. It's a module or some wiring harness. So the owner actually just said, well, just don't use your fog lights then. The manager, eventually, he was like, you know what? This is the go-to truck. If you've got a problem, this is the truck you roll out. It's not of age. It's got very low kilometers on it. It's not to the point of just don't use that feature yet.
Yeah, we're not at that point yet. This
No.
isn't a 17-year-old truck where, don't use the cruise
So
control.
then he went and he got that truck fixed at the dealership because the mechanic was told not to touch it. And the boss was a little upset that he got a $400 or $500 bill from the dealership to fix that and a few other small things. And the manager had to get into like an argument with the owner at that time. He's like, I want to take care of these things because if I don't take care of them as they happen, when something does happen and I do have to take to the dealership, okay, this is a problem, but there's 18 other things in front of it that could cause it that weren't fixed beforehand.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
And
fair.
that's where you are.
It's just taking pride, though. It's also just taking pride in the equipment as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Yes, there's unexpected costs that are going to come up for a business. And, some of them you want to mitigate as much as you can. But at the same time, keeping up trucks and keeping appearances good and keeping employees happy is going to go a lot longer.
Yeah.
So I think that for the most part, brings us to an end of today's episode. We definitely, as usual, did not get to everything that we wanted to. But that's great. It just means that we have more things lined up for next week.
Yeah.
So if you guys have just tuned in now, which would be really weird, don't forget Sunday, April 3rd, less than a week from when this episode comes out. Less than a week. We will be live on Facebook and on YouTube at the Towing Life Podcast. Follow the Facebook page. Look us up over on YouTube. Even if you listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, all that good stuff, you will hear the replay on the Tuesday, but that is not going to be as good as getting it live on Sunday. We are trying to make it that we're as available as we can. If we could go live on Spotify, live on Amazon Music, live on Apple Podcasts, we would do it. I don't think it actually allows it. So be sure to find our YouTube channel. You will find it in the link on the description. You will find it in the post on Facebook. You will find it everywhere, guys. We put that link out on everything. We put out all the spots.
If you ever listened to our podcast and you chuckled under your breath, that was a stupid thing to say. This is your time. Watch us live. So you can comment on it and ruin our personalities and lower our self-esteem a little.
Absolutely. We will have another question for how much, or what is it called? Yeah, how much of a is TowManG? I don't want to say it. We're trying to be family friendly here. So yes, April 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on Facebook, the live episode. There will be giveaways on air live. You need to be there to win. You can be on the YouTube or the Facebook. It doesn't matter. You need to be there to win. Tow Canada magazine has jumped on board and come a long way. I will check my email. This is really unprofessional, but at the same time, I want to see, we have another sponsor that is working on a giveaway for us for the episode. I want to see if they've reached out so we can actually announce it. And they have not yet. So there will be other giveaways. I promise we will do more than one. There'll be at least 2 Tow Canada winners. So be sure to come on over. Check it out. YouTube, Facebook, 7 p.m. Eastern, April 3rd. It's a Sunday at 7 p.m. What else could you possibly be doing? You can find us information as well on this at www.towinglife.ca. You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. And like I said, search us on Facebook at the Towing Life Podcast. Give us a shout. Call us. Why not? 249-666-2209. Everything is there, guys. You have all the links. You have everything. If you're watching over on YouTube, do not forget to like and subscribe. Add a comment. You know, everything helps the algorithm. Give us a review on Facebook. That is another thing. It really helps push us farther. The more positive reviews, the more people are talking about things. Keep an eye out for our light duty and heavy duty warrior posts on Facebook every week. G,
Yeah.
take us out.
That was a very long-winded segment there.
I know.
So I'll keep this short. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you all on the live stream. And see you then. Toodles.
Take care.